Do you think it's a good idea to drink water between them so we get like a clean our palate?
This is 90% water.
Welcome to Hoppy Talk. I'm Matthew Coles.
I'm Ricky Rasso.
And we're going to be drinking some IPAs today. Happy you're here to join us. You should grab your favorite IPA and sit down and crack one open. Today it's Happy Camper IPA. So we chose this one because it's right around the corner from us in New Mexico. And it's one of my favorites.
Happy Camper IPA, 6.6% alcohol by volume. Happy Camper IPA is a hoppy, malty, perfectly balanced IPA in a can that tells people F yeah. I never knew it said that. I'm from New Mexico. Don't touch my motorcycle. What? These guys have a sense of humor. First brewed in 2009, first canned in 2010, first shotgun about 5 seconds later.
All right.
Guys, it's a New Mexico original from New Mexico's original craft brewery. Drink it with pride.
Oh.
Santa Fe Brewing Company, established in 1988. Really cool label.
Whoa.
It's just like this is an older company. This is a tried and true company.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know that.
It's the New Mexican flag, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Really cool. Crack it. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for IPAs. I'm not looking forward to our Bud Light time.
We're going to do it.
We will do it.
We're going to have glasses. It'll be a Bud Light, a Miller, and a Natural Light, and then you got to guess which one's which.
That's what I was thinking. That's what
you want to try one of those?
I said we should do a blind test.
A blind test like on the domestic beers. Yeah, because I think the other ones, it's like, but the domestic ones, the ones that most people drink, it's like, let's see if we can tell the difference. I'm down to try it. Here, let's do it.
Top it off.
Look at that.
This is good. Yeah, this is what I want to see in a beer.
Salud.
Salud.
Cheers. That is good.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Wow. Like it's hoppy. It's not bitter. It's like a fruity hoppy.
It is a fruity hoppy.
Yeah, it's like orange, lemon.
Yum.
It tastes more orange than anything.
Really?
Yeah, like an orange. Well, it's the hop, but it's like, I think it imitates like orange. And then it
tastes like pine a little bit.
Yeah, like pine also for sure. The color's orange, pale, India pale ale.
And you can't
really see
barely,
through it. You can see
barely.
the shadow of your
Yeah, you're
hand.
right. It's the shadow.
And then the bubbles are all different sizes. Like I don't know if you guys saw the head on that though.
Well, this is a foam. This is why I like nitro beers. They have like a foam.
A lot
like
of foam.
This isn't even nitro.
No, it's not. But look at that.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Nice. What would you call it? Like the head retention, but I forgot. There's another way. But the suds, you have a bunch of little bubbles, big bubbles, different size bubbles. Like it's really nice. Really nice beer for sure. What would you rate it? 1 out of 10. Oh,
that's hard.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so good. I don't want to keep giving 9s out like candy. That's what I said at the Blue Moon. But I did start out. Blue Moon's one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites.
This one's better than Blue Moon.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it. Well, okay. The thing is, I love IPAs. I love IPAs more than wheat beer. So if we're gonna say, like, out of wheat beer, I think Blue Moon's a 9. If we're gonna compare all beers all together, I'd rather have an IPA than a wheat beer overall. But I think because for me, we're rating IPAs right now.
Okay,
You know
so
what I mean?
that's fair. Like to say in its category, it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is hard to. It's unfair to rate beers in an overall standpoint because it's like, well, that could be good for that style.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, this for sure. I want to give it a 10, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look.
That's good. Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Damn, that's a good beer.
So I know I've talked about my career. Let's talk about yours.
What do you want to know?
Well, I know you went from teaching to what is it called? Cybersecurity. right? Which is like a big leap. And also you got a teaching degree, but in arts, right?
Yeah.
So how was that transition?
It was fun. I moved from teaching art to computer science because I thought I'd have more time to do art. So now I come home and I can do some art, but I don't have those like 2 months off. And
Yeah.
like I have 1 2 week vacation, and that's during Christmas. I have next week off. Which
Oh,
is
that's
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
The whole week?
The whole week we're gonna go camping.
Let's do 7 podcasts. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It is pouring out there.
Yeah, I know. It sounds beautiful. We needed the rain. We needed cold.
Should I open the back door or the window?
All right, it's up to you. Go.
All right, so IPAs. I love IPAs. I know that IPAs are made, they originally came about because they wanted to transport beer. And so in order to keep it from going bad, they pumped it full of hops.
Yeah, so hops are natural antiseptic. So I don't know what chemicals in it or whatever, but yeah, it kept the beer from spoiling. And it's actually a historical style, and it came back in the 80s. So that was like the craft beer, like the beginnings of what we think of craft beer now in the country. And I wonder if they influenced it. I mean, this is
Right.
an amazing beer.
It says established
You know?
1988, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a really good beer.
Yeah.
It's 5 hours away from El Paso. So yeah, Santa Fe. This one's really good. You know what? Next time we'll get the 7K IPA.
Oh.
That one is one of my favorite IPA. It's the same company.
Yeah.
But it's their hazy version, which this is already hazy, but that one it's like a yellowish color, just really.
What is
beautifully
Voodoo
made.
Ranger? Is that one hazy?
Yeah, I think it's a hazy too. I think that one's a hazy also.
Yeah, because this one's really good. Have you made an IPA?
Yeah, I've made IPAs. It's supposed to be one of the easier styles. I always have the Sanelli IPA. Right now we have the Tambien, which is a white IPA, which is composed of mostly wheat, but it's hopped like an IPA. And then we have the black IPA, which is like a stout, but it's hopped like an IPA. So yeah. And I've made other ones. We had the West Coast style IPA. The Nueva España, we have the name IPA on it, but it's not an IPA. That's a historical style of beer. It's a no-boil raw mash top with corn, sangre de Cristo, which comes from the Sierras de Chihuahua, and that's what the natives call it, Medusa and El Dorado hops. But that's super different because that one we never boil it. We just go straight from the mash kettle. We go into the fermenter. That's why it's raw. You never boil it. And it's an interesting beer.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that the only one you make like that?
No, I've made the Beard Man like that. I think my
dang.
Fig one was like that. Yeah, so it's just an interesting thing that I wanted to experiment with, and it worked. And it's one of my best-selling beers.
You haven't made an IPA that's very hoppy, right? I think
No,
that's-
because there's things that are hoppy for the market that I'm in. This is hoppier.
Yeah, this is delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's hoppier, but it's because in El Paso, really, if you're gonna have something really, really bitter, it's not gonna sell that well. At least that's in my experience. Yeah, IPAs are supposed to be, according to LNF, they're supposed to be like top 5 in the market. LNF is the distributor, one of the distributors here, and they say that that's one of their top 5 styles that they sell, but it just doesn't sell as well. Yeah, people like lagers, they like fruity stuff. Sometimes, like right now that it's winter, they like stuff that's like a chocolate sweet, like a pecan sweet. You know,
Interesting.
They like that, pero IPAs, and also it could be that I just never made a really, really good IPA. You know,
I mean, all your beers are good, but you're saying that you have made IPAs, and I'm remembering I didn't recognize it as like an IPA because it wasn't. It's that you didn't make it as hoppy as I'm used to.
They're not bitter, and maybe I should because like I sent some beers to competition out there in Colorado, and I didn't win anything, so they write you back like, why not, right? And the Moon City, do you remember that blue one, the blue beer?
Yeah.
So that one I sent out there, it scored high on color. It scored high on color. It scored very high on concept, but when it came to flavor and aroma, they were like, we wish that we could taste more the ingredients that you said are in it. You know, like it has a hop called Ace Sorachi, or Sorachi Ace, which is a Japanese hop. And it's not a very common hop. Like, have you ever had like Sapporo or Xingju? Like, it's a Asiatic hop. It's a hop that they use in their breweries and stuff. And they're just like, we hope that we could taste it more. But I think if I did have a beer that's competition worthy, it wouldn't sell as well in the tap room. So I'm saying if I'm going to start doing competitive beers, especially if I'm sending them to places like Colorado, I think there's the World Beer Cup. I don't know where that one's at, but they're going to want a more full beer.
Yeah.
You know? So
interesting. So you think El Paso in general has it's their palate's not as refined?
No, I wouldn't say refined. I think it's just, dude, we're in the desert. Like, right? Like, you're not going to be like, I want a chocolate stout when it's 107 degrees out. You know, you're going to be like, I want a Corona, bro. Like, you know, it's like, I want something refreshing. I want something, and I think that's why the pomegranate is the one that sells so good, because most of us here know what pomegranates are. Mm-hmm. Now they're in the market, but we probably had a bush at our mother's house or grandma's house. You know,
I'm gonna put one in my backyard.
I used to throw them at my brothers. My mom would get mad because
like pomegranate, right?
Yeah, is that pomegranate, granada, grenade? Yeah, dude, we're gonna throw this at each other. So, you know, it's really, but a lot of people grew up with that. There's farmers that have done that. Also, I think that's why the pecan sells well, because this is a big pecan area. Mm-hmm. I think I had mentioned that in the other podcast. And like, I just did one with quince, membrillo. The membrillo, the quince, you know which ones I'm talking about? No, it's like an apple pear, but it's very dry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and see, like, most people don't, I don't remember, like, I didn't know the name in English. I found out it's quince. So I just made a beer with that. So I think that's, if you are going to do something crazy or different, you have to add something that people are familiar with. If not, like pomegranates, I think it's just fruity, it's refreshing. We're used to that. I remember having a whole bowl at my mom's house, and we would crack it. She would make salads with it and stuff, you know. So, but yeah, I think it's not that people's palates aren't refined. I think you're in a different market. You can't tell people your palate sucks.
Right.
You can't be like, you could, but in a business world, that's a bad idea, because then they're gonna be like, well, who the hell are you to tell me what I like and what I don't like?
Yeah.
And you know what? I like this. If I like Bud Light, give me a Bud Light. What do I have that? You know?
No, okay, but if you've only drinking Bud Light all your life, your palate's not refined.
Yeah, because
beer.
Yeah,
it's just a fact.
When you have in your mind what beer is, and you drink something like this, you're like, whoa, that's not beer. Right? And it's like, well, this is a different kind of beer. So that's what I think a lot of El Paso breweries in the craft beer world here in El Paso is trying to target. But I think the right way to go about it, there's different ways to go about it. Again, going from great, you can tell somebody, hey, you know what? You don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is actually a good beer. A Bud Light sucks, whatever. Or you can tell them, look, I don't have Bud Light, but I have something that could kind of imitate that. Or I can be, I have this. It's going to be a little bit more flavorful. You explain it to them. And if it is something like an ingredient like pomegranate that I know a lot of locals know about, they might be a little bit more open to it. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that's the better way to go about it.
I think you're right about, because we're in the desert, because I think people's palates are refined for this area. Mm-hmm. I think that's, like, you put it right. Because you know what? When my neighbor moved in, when I was in Central, I had a neighbor move in. I'm over there doing yard work. He moved in like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before.
At the house that was all messed up?
Yeah,
and
they renovated.
Okay,
he moved
awesome.
into it. So I'm doing yard work. He's all, hey, neighbor. And I was like, all right, this guy's going to come talk to me. I was like, what's up? And he's all, looks like you need a Corona. And I was all like, yes, I do need a Corona. That was probably the best Corona I've ever had. And it's exactly what you're saying. It was a hot day. I was thirsty. It was so good. So I started doing that to him whenever I'd see him out there working.
Like, here's a beer.
Yeah, I'd be like,
that's a cool way.
I had Dos Equis, of course. Yeah.
I think and it's just and a lot of people like in the northern part of the U.S. or other parts of the U.S. they're going to be craving. Like I know in California we would go. I think one of the restaurants just had IPAs, dude. Like just IPAs. Like there was no.
Is California?
Yeah, when we went to see Miguel when he graduated from the Marine Corps, I wish I could remember the name of the restaurant, but it was just IPAs. And I was like, that's cool. Like when would El Paso get to that? Where you don't need, you have a bar and you're like, I'm just selling local IPAs. None of these are owned by InBev or Anheuser-Busch. Like this is all local, and you see that also like even you don't have to go that far. You see that in Las Cruces. You go to Las Cruces, and there's some bars that just have local stuff, and people support it. And here in El Paso, it's like you go to a bar, it's like a craft bar, and sometimes, well, we have Corona or Ultra or whatever, because it's like we can't survive without it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that I think we could change and all that stuff, but it takes time. It takes time, and you have to have the right approach. I think so too.
Changing. I mean, a lot of Tin Mans popped up. Like they popped up all over the place. There's like 5 in El Paso now or more.
Yeah, he has a bunch.
And they're going. They're good. I go there. They're nice.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you go in there. Some of those beers, sometimes I don't like them. They always do have good beer.
They have a lot.
They
of
have a
different.
yeah, but they have because they have up to what, like 25 taps, something ridiculous. But it's cool, man. Like I like it. Like sometimes when I'm on my way back from work, I'll stop by Airway and drink a beer there, and you just feel the vibe. And see, that's the thing. I think a lot of the time also, it's product matters. It does matter, but you know what matters more? How do you feel? Again, going to that gray area. Because feelings isn't positive, negative, or you can have a neutral feel, but it's how do you change people's way of feeling to stay there and willing to spend their money in that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's and you know,
your bartenders have to be cool.
Yeah,
that makes a big difference.
I've told my bartenders, all of them, you're the thermometer of the bar.
Yeah.
If you're having a crappy day, the rest of the bar is gonna have a crappy day, and you won't make money.
Yours are good. You always have good bartenders.
I've had some bad ones, but I think all the ones I have right now, they're great. They're amazing, and I'm so grateful for my staff. You know what? You leave your problems at home when you're bartending if you want to make money. You got to come to work, and you leave your problems at home.
Well, it's like that with teaching. It's funny you said that it was a thermometer, but what I was taught as a teacher was that you're the weather.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I read a book. It was like, I think it was called The First Days of School. But if anyone's a teacher out there, I recommend reading it. He talks about how you're the weather. So like the kids come in, and are you going to be like, hey, welcome to my classroom? Even if the kids aren't like that, which that happens all the time. Like the kids are in bad moods, but I'm not. I'm in a good mood. Mm-hmm. And then another thing was that no matter what happened the day before, it's a new day.
Yep.
You can't think like, oh, that kid was a jerk. You have to think like it's a new day. And when that kid comes in, he remembers he was a jerk to you. But he comes in, I'm like, hey, good morning, how's it going? And he's like, oh, he's not mad. Good morning. And it starts changing.
Yeah.
The whole thing starts changing.
It does. Yeah. Like, what's another thing with that I've seen? I don't know. People call it a vibe, but I think there is a lot of body language to that. And the way you speak, it's gonna reflect. And that's something I've also told my bartenders, and I've told Mariah, and I think I'll tell my kids, but I tell them, you can't fake authenticity. Like, you know what, if you're not built to be a bartender, to be a teacher, like you're gonna be miserable. If you're trying to fake it, it's gonna be bad. Like you have to love what you're doing, love what you do. And if you're doing something that you don't love, then change it. You gotta change it. Who cares what people say? Who cares? Like you have to change it because you know what, this is your life and you're gonna be spending most of your time doing that. Especially that I have boys. I mean, women work all the time too, but like boys, I mean, you're gonna be working a lot. You know? Like I don't know, I did.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's just I found what I really liked. Like brewing, I like, but I love serving. It's like I brew because I get to serve. It doesn't even feel like a job to me.
That's awesome.
And brewing is awesome. It's cool, but it's not like my passion. I've met some brewers that are very like antisocial. They're more lone wolf kind of guys, and they love it. They love brewing. They go in there and fix systems, and I know how to troubleshoot things and do stuff like that. Like also welding, I like it. I think I can get by, but I'm way better front of house, tap room, sales. Like, and I love it. I like it. Not only am I good at it, I like it. You know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Should we get the next one?
Yeah, let's do it. So now we're on to our second beer, second out of 5. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Odell Brewing Company IPA. Awesome label. I like the graphics on this one. It's an elephant. It's like a cowboy riding the elephant. Something kind of cool.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, you're right.
And then on this one, let's see. Where's the alcohol percentage? 7. Wow.
I like that.
I know. So, and then it says on the label, we took the traditional IPA and we made it bolder and more flavorful, American style, highly aromatic, whole flower, American hop created a balanced bitterness profile with bright citrus hop character. Proudly Odell Brewing Company, proudly Colorado. Independent since '89. So this is also a very old brewery. But again, cool. Let's try it. Ready?
Yeah.
So the color is very different on this one than the other one.
It is. Oh, this one's got a lot more head. This is a really light. You could see through this one.
So this is, I think this is more of a traditional.
So
Like the other one, I don't know. Usually when they're hazy like that, you're using a lot of oats, wheat, torrefied wheat, torrefied barley. This one, it could just be a more traditional, and dry hopping. Whenever you dry hop, so a lot of the time hops go in the boil. If you're adding hops in the fermenter, that makes it hazy. All the oils seep into the beer.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so which is really cool. Like that's a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of names for that and all that. But let's see. And the head is pretty good on this one too.
This is like, yeah, it's really good.
Really
It's
good.
very, very transparent.
It's a little bit hazy. It's a little bit hazy. It's not, it might have just been dry hopped. Let's see.
Oh, you got some good head on there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, look at that. Very similar to the other one. And I'm trying to find the word. There's a word for this, but I think it's the structures of the suds of the, I forgot the name. But yeah, what it is, it's like how it holds, and then the different sizes of bubbles, where you have smaller bubbles on the top, bigger ones in the middle, and then they get bigger on the, so it's able to like hold the body of the head, you know. It's really, really nice for sure.
Wow,
Look at
yeah.
That is cool.
Looks like a float.
Look, here, check it out. Just kind of twirl it a little bit. Even pouring beer, there's an art to it for sure. It's beautiful. Salud. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, dude. Great choice of beers today. Look, you have a bunch of foam too, bro.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know which one I like better. Which one do you like better?
I feel like it's a tie. I think the other one tasted a little better.
This one has a like, I don't know, I guess the word I would use is astringency. Just a little bit, not. The other one was just like a clean IPA.
Yeah.
Like it was so clean.
The other one had like everything I look for in an IPA beer.
Yeah, that's
This
so
one,
good.
this one's a little different. It's not. It's good. It's really good. I like it at 7%. Like,
It could be that it just has more alcohol,
yeah.
right? So it's a little bit drier. I guess astringent. What I would say is like where you feel like a sharp taste.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you feel on the side of your tongue a sharper taste than the other one, but I mean that's a consequence of having more alcohol, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Right.
Right? So it's like, wow, it's good. Look at that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I would rate them both the same.
Yeah. Same.
I know
here.
I said 10 on the other one. It's a 10. They're 10s. They're 10s. I like them. Call me a hipster. I like IPAs. What do you like?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's like I try not to be the hipster guy, but I
Do
guess
hipsters like IPAs?
It's like it's a stigma to us. One time I was working at the other brewery and somebody said, "Rick, you're such a hipster." I'm like, "I'm not a hipster." They're like, "Rick." I was like, "I'm not a hipster. Like, you know, I like to go camping, the outdoors. All. You own an old truck, you have a flip phone, and you work at a brewery. You're a hipster." I was like, "Oh shit, I guess you're right." I'm not trying to be that, but yeah. When I think of a hipster, I think of you. You can't fake authenticity. It's like,
Right. When you know, the thing is, I think there are hipsters that are hipsters because that's how they are.
yeah,
And then
that's who they are. But yeah, I think there's people that try to be that. And it's like, dude, again, you can't fake authenticity, right? If you're not that, just be whoever you are, man. It
Yeah.
is who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I was called a hipster the first time because I was wearing a fedora. Do you remember I used to wear fedoras all the time?
Dude.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell's a hipster? And then it was like,
What the hell's a hipster?
yeah, I was like, what the hell? That was the first time.
You're all drinking an IPA with a fedora. It's like, at least, those are the memes that I'm seeing in the craft beer world.
If you drink IPAs and you don't like them, you're a hipster. If you drink IPAs and you like them, you're yourself.
Who you
and
are.
You're who you are. And, yeah.
There's been a couple of kegs that I've had from like other companies that I've tapped them and stuff. And then at the bottom, there's what it's called trub. So all like the yeast nutrients and all the yeast and all that stuff. And it could be like the first keg you keg or the last few kegs you keg.
So you got to drink them with a straw to get the nutrients.
I know, right? It could be, I don't know, maybe because I'm shaking mine.
Yeah.
Big box store, different colors, still amazing beer. Really good. I'm sure they taste different too.
This one smells really good. What could you do to make your beer more hoppy?
I think I've tried a couple of styles like that and I always retract. I'm always like, no, let's add the hops a little bit later. Let's not add that much hops because I'm just like, oh, it's not going to sell. And of course, I'm thinking with my business mind over here. But now I'm saying if I want a comp beer, like a competition beer, it needs to be according to style. It needs to go, you know.
Do you have some IPAs that you keep in your brewery at all times?
Yeah, the Sanelli. Yeah, it's an IPA. So it's a West Coast style IPA. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the dry hopping. I don't know what they're doing, but these are very fruitful. They're lightly bitter. I guess that's the way I could explain it. Like mine it's bitter, but it's crisp. And this is like, you taste the bitterness, but it's not like terrible. Because I've had some IPAs that are like, oh wow, like so this is bitter.
The most bitter IPA I've had is the Stone IPA.
Yeah.
I like it. My favorite thing about it, I mean, you drink it, it's bitter, it's in your face. I like it. It's offensive, and I like the offensive flavors. No, but I like that you could drink two, and you're good because, well, I think they're like 9%.
Yeah, they might be super high in alcohol.
So this one's 7%, which is good. That's one of the things I like about IPAs also. They're always high. What's your Sanelli?
I think I have it at 6.97%.
That's great.
Yeah. So the malt build is good. It's high in alcohol, but it's not super bitter. It's more of a sharp bitterness, again, like one that kind of goes and then comes away. It's not one that lingers. And that's what I've seen with like really quality IPAs. It's like a bitterness that lingers that's sought after, right? Like you kind of want that.
Yeah.
You're
saying it's not super
also,
bitter.
it could be because I do pressurized fermentations. So they're fermenting under pressure almost throughout. And I don't know the science behind it or anything, but I know when I do pressurized fermentations, when they're enclosed, they tend not to be as bitter either. Whenever I leave the valve open, I used to do that. I would leave the valve open and then let that bubble out. They would be more bitter. Like there's a little bit more flavor, but then they're not as carbonated. You know, and I prefer carbonation over bitterness.
You said the crisp. You love the crisp.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I mean, that's the thing about beer. It's like, I want bubbly. You know, I don't want a flat beer. Oh, that's like, a flat beer is the worst. I'd rather drink a warm beer than a flat beer. The more alcohol you have, the flatter the beer becomes or tends to be. Like liquor, you can never carbonate liquor. Carbonated.
So the lower, because you're changing my perspective a little bit on this, because I think that we talked about this last time, that the higher the alcohol content and the flavor that you get with it, for me that's what makes a really good beer. But you're saying that the more alcohol, the harder it is to carbonate.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
But if you have more hops, the more hop. That's why, like, have you seen these compared to the lagers? So hops allow for, it's called isomerization, and that helps to hold head retention. So like, have you ever had like a soda from McDonald's or something? Mm-hmm. It's carbonated, but then the carbonation, there's no head, right? Mm-hmm. It just dies down. Hops is what allows for the head retention, isomerization. So like these are higher alcohol, but look at all that lacing and head and all that stuff. But if you get something that's like barrel aged with a lot of alcohol, it'll look flat. It'll look flat. Alcohol kills head retention. So it has to do with the relationship. I don't know exactly what it is, but it has to do with hops and carbonation. So when they isomerize, you have this. So before historical styles of beer, they probably were flatter beers. They were flatter, but when the monks added hops, I don't know if they were Belgian or German, that's what allowed it to have head on it. You know, it's like you get a soda, the head dies right away. So yeah.
But now every beer has hops, right?
I think legally in the state of Texas, for sure, federally, it needs to have hops. So you need the main 4 ingredients: grain, water, hops, and yeast. That's what makes a beer. So like that pomegranate, that is a beer, but it tastes like cider.
Yeah.
You notice, but it has hops. We mash hop it, and then most of it is composed of barley. So most of the fermented sugars are barley, but then we add some juice and we add honey. So it's neither a mead nor a cider nor a beer. It's like a hybrid. It's called a graf, GRAF, a graf style beer. Now there's grafs that are considered ciders legally because they're mostly made with juice. There's some that are meads because they're mostly composed of honey. Whatever's being fermented. That's what the government cares about. What's making the alcohol? And then, but mine is mostly barley. And that's our best seller. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You had told me that you wanted to make a mead beer company.
Mead, yeah, company. Because there's no cideries or meaderies. I think there's one place that does kombucha, Madre Nostra, here in El Paso. But
alcoholic kombucha?
Yeah, alcoholic. Huh. So it's fermented tea, right? That's what it is. So you get tea and you ferment it, but it's very low alcohol.
Well, to make a kombucha, you need the mushroom also.
Well, it's Madre Nostra. Louis is his name. Let's see if maybe one day we can go. Really cool guy, chill guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see if we can go and check it out and how he does it, and he can probably tell us about that, or maybe that's somebody for the podcast. So right now we're talking about beer. Now let's do a cider. Yeah. Let's do whiskey. Let's do tequila. No te creas. No, I'm just kidding. No, I can't do that. No, we'll stick to lower alcohol. But yeah. So. It's interesting, the whole history of that, and then also why the legalities, right? Like in the state of Texas, there's still dry counties where they don't sell alcohol. So, there's laws about how distributors handle alcohol and distribute that to bars, and the roots of that have to go all the way back to the 1920s when it was illegal to even possess alcohol, to drink alcohol. So that's like an interesting history that we can talk about too later in the future.
Damn, that was good. You give it a 10, right?
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm a hipster. Officially.
Well, thank you for joining us on this podcast.
We'll see you on the Hoppy Talk. Cheers, guys.